Good morning, everyone, for this new episode on TransConnect. This will be on Blood Bank Information System and Automation in Blood Transfusion Services. I am Dr. Mohit Chaudhary, and this is June 2023. And this is a very, very important topic, especially because this is seldom discussed. And most of us struggle when we are trying to incorporate such automated or such informative things in our blood bank. So, without wasting time, let's move on to this system and how we need to incorporate it in our own blood bank. So history-wide, if you see, worldwide, the researchers had initiated many pilot projects in 1960s to 1980s. With the systemization of computers in blood bank, US FDA officially recommended the implementation of blood bank computerization in 1988. So what they pointed out was automated or electronic data systems used in blood and plasma establishment should have the capacity to trace the history of every donation forward through the final disposition of each component and from each transfusion, infusion or sale backward to the original donors. So this was very important. We were able to trace the history of every donation, and from the original donor backward, we need to do that. FDA established the detailed requirements in 1989. So since then, with the present scenario, if you see, it has been well established about the necessity and feasibility of blood bank computerization. In face of such exigent demands, many institutes and vendors have devoted to this field. So there are many vendors which are there in India as well and abroad. So these vendors will come out with their software and then they will try to tell you the USPs of each software, and it is up to you then how you want to select it or not select it. The FDA licenses a series of computer software. Different from the HIS system, these related computer software are designed specifically for the blood bank needs. So a clear development framework and effective implementation reference contribute to the success of blood bank information systems. So what is the WHO criteria for the same? As per the WHO, the effective information management, whether in a manual record system or a computerized information management system, should ensure the following information security criteria, which is availability, confidentiality, and integrity. All three are very, very important in any BBIS. And similarly, these criteria can be extended with the durability criteria, because in blood bank, everything should be kept for a stipulated time. So like 5 years or something. So you need to extend it to the durability criteria, considering that the information related to the blood transfusion process is required to be kept over a long period of time. So just to refresh, what are the processes of blood donation? It involves collection, processing, storing and providing human blood intended for transfusion, performing the pre-transfusion testing, cross-matching, and then finally transfusing it to the patient. The blood bank consists of independent blood centers which collect, store, and distribute human blood, or hospital-based blood bank. So these are the two types of systems that are there, and both have their pros and cons, which we'll be discussing it later. So coming to the process, why we need to do the process first is this will depend what kind of information that is coming out of the blood bank and what we need to store within our systems. So you see, whenever donor comes, he goes to the reception and the nurse and the doctor or the donor registration takes place. And if he's found to be eligible, the phlebotomy takes place. From there, after the collection, the sample that is from the sample pouch that you get goes into the laboratory, goes into the component, and once that is tested for TTI and the components are made and it's eligible, it gets into the blood stocks where the technicians and the blood products are involved. So after that, now this blood stock is your blood inventory. Whenever a patient visits the clinical ward or visits the hospital and he or she requires the blood, the call comes through the physician and the blood cross match and blood dispatch takes place through the blood stock. Whatever we have, depending upon our inventory, we would try to transfuse the patient. And this transfusion happens in the clinical ward where the nurse and the doctor receives the blood, verifies their blood, and then we transfuse the same. So you see there are multiple processes which involve the donor and the patient area, and all need to be integrated, all have lots of information that comes out, and all need to be seamless. So if any of this process is halted or hampered, then obviously we are going to face a problem. So how information and computer technology helps in this? This has been widely deployed in medicine and reveals the great potential to improve efficiency as well as quality. And this IT and computer technology combined with the automation can obviously ease and secure most procedure of donor screening, blood collection, laboratory testing, and cross matching. The complete documentation for possible backward inspection, IT and computer technology can effectively relieve the workload and reduce the incidence of wrong blood episodes. So coming to blood bank information system, why do we need it all? See, what we are trying to do here is a transfuse blood and blood component, which can sometimes be very life-threatening, maybe because of the patient condition or maybe because of the blood that you are transfusing, which may not be compatible at times. So it entails the rigorous controlling, monitoring, and complete documentation of the whole procedure, from blood collection to blood transfusion. Tremendous amount of data and information daily interval is produced, and various errors may happen at different points, the processes that we just checked. So error at the time of administration of blood or blood components are the most frequently documented site of errors. Preceding errors in blood sampling, laboratory testing, and inventory management can also be a factor in many of such incidents too. So therefore, we need a blood bank information system, which is very important. Now, the blood bank information system can be two types. It can be an hospital-based interface system or a blood bank information itself interface system. So what is a HIS and what is a BBIS? So when you have an HIS-based system, the blood bank information system is a subset of HIS. Now, this is usually recommended for hospital blood bank because it closely integrates the other HIS modules, the hospital interface modules, like inpatient management, the billing, the OPD, and all those things. So all of that, you will have a subsection of the blood bank. So this is generally developed with the objective of streamlining the treatment flow of a patient. So it is very patient-oriented system. So it improves the hospital efficiency. Of course, blood bank information system is more appropriate for a standalone blood bank, but it is also now widely accepted with the hospital blood banks. So it optimizes the streamline of blood donation and transfusion services, but it most importantly, it tracks every unit of blood and blood component from donation to infusion so that the safety could be fundamentally guaranteed. So coming to the design consideration, there are various design consideration which when you start with the blood bank information system. So these include information in the blood bank, the autonomous information system, streamlined information system, closed and open information system. So all this needs to be considered when you design a blood bank interface system. So most important of them is the information in a blood bank, which needs to be archived. And this is a very heterogeneous data information. So few healthcare operations are as complex as managing blood and blood component. A blood bank needs to handle hundreds and thousands of pieces of data and information covering from blood donation to blood distribution. So if you see starting from the donation module, you have the collection information, you have the post-donation care where you have the post-donation information, you have the various materials and apparatus which need to be, daily logged into, you have that info. You have the staff info, there is a lot of attrition, so you need to know what the staff is, which staff is registered in your blood bank. Then you have the lab modules where you have the blood testing happening, you have the blood components preparation. Then you have the stock module where you have the blood distribution number, the inventory info, the transfusion agencies where you need to give the information to. And all this needs to be interfaced with the uh, hospital interface system. And this is known as electronic data interface. So you need to supply all this information uh, to the external agency. So this will include the inventory information sometimes, because many of the portals that have been designed in the blood bank now, especially from the government side, we need to put our inventory in that. You need to have pre-transfusion testing, you need to have transfusion information, you can have reactions, post-transfusion reaction, which is a part of the hemovigilance. You can have the patient info, medical info, all this is in the blood bank module in HIS. So with such a lot of information, all this heterogeneous data needs to be entered. One of the most important aspect is recruiting the healthy donors. So this part of the blood bank is very important and it is necessary for donor screening and tracking. traditionally we used to have a self conscious questionnaire that we used to give to the donor. And once we had that information, we used to self enter it, and that was it. Now, contemporary blood bank, if you see, there more and more objective data and information is there, like accurate donor parameters, medical information from the hospital, etc. So, recruiting healthy donors is a very, very vital part of the information. Now, second is materials and staffs. So, very important because the each material should be rigorously labeled, recorded for possible backward inspection in case there is some failure. All the blood containers, the staff decisions and operations, all unique identification and their connection with every unit of blood and blood component should be made. We need to optimize blood distribution and utilization. This is built on blood inventories in the blood bank and hospital blood bank. Then you have a peripheral information coming from list of transfusion facilities and blood distribution records. And all this can be only done if you have a computerized and networked management substantially, which may promote to quick response in medical emergencies. Now, feedback data from outside is another aspect of information which needs to be there, and this involves the electronic data interchange. And this contributes to the blood donation and transfusion service through the complete chain of information interchange. And the blood information can be considerably rich if we have the feedback from the external sources. Coming to the second aspect of the design, which is the autonomous information system. We all know the blood bank information system is an autonomous system, and there are two major aspects which embody its autonomy. First is the interfaces for automated data acquisition. Now, this effectively reduces the human introduced error. So you have the barcodes, you have the printers, the readers, all this material in the blood bank can be labeled and verified through this unique barcodes, and the raw data and detailed information can be archived without human intervention. And this guarantees the consistency of blood bank information, but also improves blood bank working efficiency. The second is the module for intelligent decision making support. So you have one is automated data, and then is intelligent decision making support, somewhat like an artificial intelligence. Now, this can be both data driven. So depending on what data you have, so you can have those log these algorithms for answering or your things, and like a stat thing where something comes up and you need to just process it, or it can be a knowledge driven decision support modules which have got advanced systems. So both the systems are available. You need to see which one is working for you. The third aspect of the design is a streamlined information system. So in this, a very, very vital role is played by a barcode technology. Now, this causes full participation of barcode technology, promotes blood bank efficiency, and so many of these things that you are doing, like blood component separation, infectious marker testing, donor recruitment, donor selection, all this can be undertaken simultaneously if you have a barcode. So from various samples can go to various labs, and all of them will have the same barcode. So you are doing the work simultaneously. So besides barcode technology, you need to also rely on automation, IT, and computer technology. And this is possible to synergize activities in blood bank via information interchange and share. Ultimately, we should be able to streamline the overall blood bank procedure so as to improve working efficiency while keeping the high performance safety of blood donation and transfusion services. The fourth aspect is the closed information system, very important. When we say closed information system, there are two aspects. Firstly, the blood bank information system should accomplish the complete information flow from blood donation to blood transfusion. Secondly, the blood bank information system should keep a black box to unauthorized user. So whatever information, the confidentiality of the donor and whatever the TTI results has to be very confidential. You cannot disclose it, and there are norms to do it. So that should be kept in mind when you have the BBIS system. The workflow synergy and information synchronization should happen, and any data or information in the blood bank transfusion service will play a global role. So whatever you're putting is going to have an impact. So you should have a workflow synergy. Also, you should keep in mind that the network environment is permeated by some viruses, software. So we should have more attention on the issue of data security as well. Therefore, to combat that, we should have a hierarchical framework, that is The privilege of every group of users should be clearly configured so that only the authorized users are able to conduct permitted operations. Paradoxically, we are saying that should be a closed system, but it should also have a feature of open information system, which is that blood bank information system should be subject to open platform for information exchange. To form a complete information flow, BBIS need to exchange various data and messages from outside subjects, such as hospital blood banks at least. Challenging issue in this is have to have an electronic data interchange. Of course, there are various agencies for the same. You can have a United Nations electronic data interchange for administration, commerce, and transport. Or there is another called American Society of Testing and Materials and Health Level 7. So all these are there, but keeping in mind that there will be some challenges when you do the open information. So if you see, this is how it operates. So you have a reception from where the person comes who is willing to donate, where you have an interface with the computer technology through nurse and the doctor, who then say that they are eligible to donate, and then the collection process happens. From there, the sample goes for lab testing, component production, and if they are found eligible and everything goes well, then it is in your inventory. This inventory can be shared with the hospital or with the government agencies or the health bureaus, which now know that which blood bank has how much blood. If it is found to be ineligible, it is always discarded. So once this inventory is there, this gives a very wholesome picture to the national hemovigilance program, which says like an e-rakt coach, which says that how much blood is there in each blood bank, so that the donors can be benefited through the app, saying this blood bank has this blood which is in excess and can be given to anybody who comes. So what are the essences of BBI? You can easily remember it through the 4S: information suitability, information sharing or integrity, information synergy, and information security. So when I say suitability, it is, or credibility, it is the eligibility of the blood donation can be improved if we have a more objective health record. We can use the barcode technology for it, and various automatic testing and processing apparatus can be used. Information sharing or integrity is we should have a closed information flow. Paradoxically, at some time we should have an open system as well. Information interchange and share: candidate donors can be evaluated in all sides of the donation reaction, blood testing and result. And information synergy is the concurrent operations of blood analyzing and processes threaten to the blood safety and transfusion service. Here also a barcode technology is recommended. And security wise, we have to protect the donor privacy, prevent unauthorized data operations, and information system disaster recovery. So not only should it respond, but it should also respond when there is a disaster or there is some shutdown. That time you should have a provision for system disaster recovery. So what is the rationale for blood bank information system? It is clearly, it says the role of blood centers and automation system in the blood bank. So hospital-based blood bank we know are generally, they have the autologous blood donation provisions. Any hospital has to preserve an appropriate portion of the blood bank, so quick response is better. Whereas if you see the independent blood bank, they are widely accepted. Why? Because they have an environment-friendly blood bank. They are conducive to the mood of the blood donors. And you can have a centralized blood bank. This essentially decreases the national medical expenditure on blood processing and production, and effectively guarantees the impartial blood distribution and supply. But it also necessitates the series of sophisticated blood testing and analyzing apparatus. So any BTS should comprise of blood center, hospital blood bank, small or ambulatory blood station, and the successful operation and management of blood banks should be attributed to modern information and computer technology. So you have very two important aspects in this. These are the donor screening procedure, which needs to be computerized, and network donation information system should be there. And blood inventory information system should run transparently and subject to surveillance of independence committee. Coming to automated system, which is very important for integrating with the BBIS. Otherwise, we are not truly automated. So they range from a broad range of systems and apparatus, including automated manufacturing equipment, control system, automated laboratory system, computers, including laboratory, manufacturing data systems. All of them are organized in a hierarchy of hardware, software, and network components. In the essence, these systems firstly attempt to automate various processing tested and avoid human-introduced contamination and errors. At the same time, these automation systems are designed to streamline diverse operations taking place in the blood bank, such as donor screening, data analyzing, blood management, and dissemination. And nowadays, all of these activities are deeply intertwined with the computer and network infrastructure. What are the benefits? See, IT system and automation really benefits because it decreases the human intervention, and this processing results can be automatically imported into the information system as electronic data. All the heterogeneous operations in the blood bank and transfusion services are really streamlined, and a closed network helps to cope with the challenging issues such as global optimization of blood dissemination, tracking adverse transfusion reaction, and possible backward inspection. Where there are various areas of automation, you can see right from donor screening to traceability of blood components, it is involved. We have in immunohematology also where various players have come, including the SPRCA technique, column agglutination, etc. There is automation in FRSs where we target collection of desirable blood components, and it can be employed for therapeutic purposes also with intermittent flow or continuous flow centrifugation. And the new player is the RFID or the radio frequency identification. Has the potential to make the identification, storage, handling, and distribution of blood and a blood product from efficient and safer process. The tag communicates with the RFID reader via radio waves, which sends the identity to the database. And unlike barcode technology, it can read quickly, accurately, and simultaneously, and offers more secure and traceable solution. So advantages of you means reduction in the human error by reducing manual steps, improves inventory management, simplified testing of donors, improved blood unit identification. Information can be sent directly to the network and thereby reducing the SS loss, saves time, and improves regulatory compliance. So if you compare manual versus barcode versus RFID, you can see the advantages of RFID include ability to track assets out of lines of sight, amount of data storage is more, ability to exchange information two ways. It's not just one way. The tag is giving information to the reader and the reader is giving information to the tag. And ability to reprogram the tags is also possible. So how does the RFID works? It is very simple. You have an RFID reader which sends the radio signal to this passive RFID tag, which acknowledges the same, and there is a handshake, and then it sends its information back to the reader. So it is acknowledged that there is some information that is coming. Thereafter, the reader transmits data to the database for processing, and a secure database contains the identifying information associated with the serial number of the tag. So the RFID, if you see, it can be on a car key, it can be on your mobile, it can be on a metro card, or more importantly, on your blood bag. It consists of a chip that contains a unique identified serial number and an antenna that transmits the data to a reader with appropriate authorization. And these are generally passive RFID, which contains no internal power source and can only transmit data when a reader sends them a signal. Coming to blood bank information system in our region, there are various players. All seem to be fine. It depends upon what you need and what works for your organization. Some centers have tried the hospital interface system based blood bank software as well, but it has got its own problem, and as it is mostly patient centric. But it is up to you. If it works for you, it works for you. So you need to see which blood bank information system works for you. There are many players, in fact, now who advocate or say that they are better than others. So you need to test them, go for a demo, and then you will know which one is better. There have been many government initiatives for this interface system. E-Raktkosh is one of the centralized blood bank management system, which based on objectives like safe and adequate blood supplies, turnaround time reduction, prevents wastage of blood, restrict professional donors, networking of blood bank and donor repository. It is a web-based application with an Aadhaar linkage. Decision support is also there, enforces the guidelines, and has got a dashboard and statutory reports. So it generally Raktkosh is what we are all doing nowadays. It also has the information of our donors. Sometimes use your location to find the nearest blood bank, the nearest camp that is happening. The blood stock availability is there. So it is really a good venture that has been set up by the government. So coming to what is the ideal automated tracking option, it integrates with existing health information system. It tracks the allograft and autograft and non-issue items, traces product through final disposition, prompts expiration tissue, adverse events and recall tracking system, automatically completes forms, does not burden the hospital ID, and utilizes the barcode scanners, RFID, etc. So how is the blood bank information system market and growth? The blood bank BBIS market is projected to reach US dollar 1,1103.95 million by 2028. So it is rapidly growing from US dollar 658.87 million in 2021. So it is a huge boom. And if you see the region wise, North America is utilizing this heavily and we are still lacking. So it is high time that we have the BBIS in our blood bank. So conclusion, with the amount of available options in the market today, choosing whether to implement automation isn't a simple yes or no. More accurately, the question is when, where, and how much do we need to automate? A BBIS system may vary dependent on your need. It is worthwhile to make a demo and decide what best suits for you and your organization. For seamless operation, a BBIS should be installed, thereby reducing the human intervention and therefore the chances of error. These are my references.